In this video, we'll show you how to build an island deck using TimberTech decking products. To begin, let's establish a definition of an island deck. An island deck is a separate deck structure, typically a smaller deck size and normally closer to the ground, and commonly not taller than 20 inches, constructed independently and not attached to a house or any other building or structure. An island deck, also referred to as a platform deck or floating deck, because it is not attached to the building, can be a great upgrade to a backyard space. It can create an inviting space for an outdoor dining space or lounge area, or both. A benefit of an island deck is that it can be a lower-cost project that can be easier for a DIYer to complete, as it is closer to the ground and often doesn't require as complex of a deck frame. A drawback to an island deck can be that elevation is essentially set and not flexible, and if one of the lower-cost, DIY-friendly footing options are used, the deck can be subject to frost heaving. Applying the following tips can yield the best outcome and can help provide a beautiful new outdoor space for a homeowner. Properly constructed framing will be placed over pre-manufactured concrete or composite support blocks that will rest on a stable, properly prepared ground and stone and gravel aggregate subbase. It is important to note that for added stability, traditional footer and post installation below the frost line may be considered. Areas prone to excess moisture, flooding, or freezing and thawing can affect your island's deck stability and performance. So assessing your specific island deck application is critical to determining the outcome and performance of your island deck project. Most island decks are relatively small and benefit from using single-length deck boards to avoid gaps at butt joints or board ends due to thermal expansion and contraction. Planning your deck layout to eliminate butt joints and utilizing available decking lengths can reduce waste and provide better value for your project. When building an island deck, there are 4 key factors that significantly impact the appearance and performance of TimberTech decking products. First, consider the foundation preparation of your deck. The grade, foundation, or concrete pad on which the island deck will be constructed should be firm, stable, and level to provide adequate support of the deck, and the deck should not be attached to a building or a structure. Start by laying out and marking the area where the deck will be placed. This can be done quickly and easily with battens and string lines to determine the overall size and location. Determine squareness by the 3-foot, 4-foot, 5-foot method, or measure corner to corner each way. Depending on how high you plan to build the deck above grade, you will need to do some amount of excavation. This will also provide a solid foundation for your island deck. This can be done by hand or using equipment such as a sod cutter or excavation machines, depending on your project's needs. Backfill any low areas to prevent pooling water and to allow free-flowing drainage from beneath the structure. Always remember to call 811 prior to any digging. You have 2 excavation options. Either excavate only where support blocks will be placed, or excavate the entire deck area, then add landscape fabric and proper aggregate subbase, drainage, and weed control. Note, in this application, and for best results, we recommend excavating the entire deck area. Remove all topsoil and sod to subsoil depth before building. The depth of the excavation will depend on the terrain, and adjustments should be made in order to keep the support blocks level and in plane across the tops. Note, it's important to excavate deeper in most applications under areas where the support blocks will be placed in order to allow for proper aggregate subbase. Do not construct your island deck on topsoil, freshly backfilled, uneven, unstable, or uncompacted soil, dirt, or surfaces. For best results for a firm and stable base, we recommend compacting your excavated dirt and soil and then placing a non-woven geotextile landscape fabric so that your stone aggregate base does not settle into the soil. Then, add a minimum of 6 inches using a larger subbase such as 304 limestone, ensuring a solid compaction for stability. Lastly, use no more than 1 inch or 2 inches of a bedding base layer, such as fine stone dust, and compact that in place. Keep in mind, your subbase should be a minimum of 6 inches wider on all sides than the support block that you have chosen. A properly prepared base can also assist in water drainage and weed control below your island deck. Be sure to firmly compact each layer of subbase aggregate as well as your dirt and soil after excavation has been completed. Second, consider the type of support blocks that you will be using for your island deck project. Using suitable deck support blocks will keep the wood posts, beams, or joists off of the ground to help protect them from constant exposure to moisture, and also provide support for your island deck substructure and framing. Pre-manufactured deck support blocks, including precast concrete or composite blocks, can be used and will elevate and support the deck framing for on-grade or near-grade applications. These support blocks are usually designed to allow for common joist, beam, or post lumber sizes to be used with them. Keep in mind, be sure to prepare for the size and type of framing construction that you will be using. There are many ways to frame your island deck substructure. These are the 3 framing types recommended for an island deck build. In this video, we will be showing a joist-to-beam type construction. The number of deck support blocks needed will depend on the specific block that you choose, the size and weight of the deck, and the allowable span of the lumber size used. Keep in mind, if you are not constructing below the frost line, you may see changes along the walking surface of the deck from ground heaving, lifting, or moving, which can create an uneven or wavy deck surface. Be sure to consult the deck block manufacturer, lumber span tables, and your local building codes to determine the necessary number of blocks, maximum allowable spacing between blocks, and the maximum allowable span for your beams, joists, and any framing. In addition, consult with them for the recommended subbase aggregate for your specific application in your area. The third factor to consider is the proper framing construction of your island deck. In this video, the framing will be constructed of a 2x6 beam set upon the deck blocks to provide a solid and rigid foundation for 2x6 joist framing and the TimberTech composite or advanced PVC decking. Use a high-quality exterior-grade construction adhesive to secure the beam to support blocks. Aluminum framing or kiln-dried lumber rated for ground contact may provide best results for stability and longevity. Wood framing members, which are near, at, or below grade, are more susceptible to rot, decay, or structural deterioration from moisture. TimberTech shall not be responsible for any claims submitted for TimberTech decking products which can be attributed to failure of wood substructure. Consider using TimberTech aluminum framing and/or kiln-dried ground contact rated lumber for best results. In this example, we will be using 2x6 pressure-treated lumber for the structure, and the overall size of the deck will be 16 feet by 16 feet. We suggest using a high-grade exterior construction adhesive to help adhere the top of your support block to your beam and/or framing. All joists will be fastened to beams using joist hangers, with the beams adhered to the top of the deck support blocks. Be sure to keep tops of joists flush with tops of beams. Check this using string lines frequently. TimberTech decking products are rated for 16-inch OC joist span. However, especially for TimberTech Advanced PVC, consider 12-inch OC span for a more rigid feel. Attach perimeter rim joists to the main support joists and check square alignment by measuring corner to corner each way. Be sure to use a high-quality exterior-grade wood framing screw for assembling your wood framing and substructure. Ensure that all framing members are in plane across the tops. Use tight string lines frequently to verify. Power plane, shim, or notching the bottom of joist or framing members may be necessary to ensure joists are in plane across tops. Solid blocking must be installed between each joist in rows a maximum of 36 inches apart using quality exterior screws that are designed for use in treated lumber prior to installing deck boards. Tops of blocking must be in plane with tops of joists. Solid blocking will help unitize the entire frame to resist independent movement of the joists, which may occur as the wood dries, shrinks, and ages. Because island decks are commonly installed directly on or below the ground level, but in many cases not below the frost line, the framing will require more frequent blocking to increase stability compared to a footer below the frost line with a common post-beam deck framing construction when using TimberTech composite and advanced PVC decking. To help protect the joist from moisture damage, apply TimberTech ProTac joist tape to the tops of the framing. With the framing properly installed, you can focus on the fourth factor, proper fastening of the deck boards. Properly fastened decking using best practices per installation instructions is critical to aesthetics, performance, and minimizing expansion or contraction of decking. Alternative decking products like TimberTech Advanced PVC or composite decking material will encounter expansion and contraction during temperature changes. To avoid large gapping, store decking on a flat, level surface in a cool, dry place, with packaging on if possible, and keep them cool as possible during installation, especially at the time of fastening. Island decks can be constructed using any of TimberTech's composite or advanced PVC deck boards. In this video, the island deck will be constructed using advanced PVC deck boards. Note that all factory ends must be squared or trimmed prior to installation. Spacing between the edges and sides of the deck boards should be 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch. Do not leave a gap of any end joints with TimberTech Advanced PVC decking. The gap between butt joints, miters, and splices should always be tight. All factory end cuts must be trimmed and squared prior to installation. If you choose to use a TimberTech composite deck board, be sure to review the TimberTech composite installation guidelines and videos for best fastening options. For TimberTech Advanced PVC decking, use a top-down fastening method for best results. We recommend using stainless steel top-lock color-matched screws or Cortex fasteners with plugs to best minimize gapping from expansion and contraction. 2 fasteners are required at all joist locations, or maximum of 16-inch on-center for all advanced PVC deck boards, perimeter, and parting boards. Consider framing and fastening TimberTech Advanced PVC decking at 12-inch on-center or less for a more rigid feel and additional fastening hold. For advanced PVC, position fasteners 3/4 of an inch from deck edges and within a 1/2 inch from the board ends. Remember, pre-drilling is not required for TimberTech Advanced PVC decking. In this video, we are using top-lock color-matched screws for the TimberTech Advanced PVC decking. Drive fasteners perpendicular to the board surface, ensuring that it's driven a minimum of 1 1/4 inch into the joist. Drive slowly until the fastener is flush or just slightly below the surface of the board. Do not overdrive the fastener. Do not leave the head of the fastener sticking out. Before installation, review the full TimberTech deck installation guides, installation PDF, videos, and care and cleaning information found at www.timbertech.com. Since all installations are unique, it is the installer's responsibility to determine specific requirements for each deck application. Check with a licensed architect, engineer, and/or local building official before installation, and ensure that your project is in accordance with local building codes as well as the TimberTech installation guides. For a finished touch around the perimeter of your island deck, consider installing TimberTech fascia. For fascia installation, see videos and installation guidelines at timbertech.com. Finally, refer to the care and cleaning tips to keep your TimberTech decking looking its best for years to come.